back in 1954, the average age of a resident going into an Abbeyfield house would probably be in their late 60s. Now it's in their late 80s. Our residents, of course, do have changing and higher expectations than you necessarily would have had there. With the increasing age comes an increasing care need. And for that reason, in many ways, the traditional model of an Abbeyfield house with 8 to 10 residents is quite often challenged. The strategy has been based on a mission which is to enhance the quality of life for older people, and it is a strategy for growth. We are looking to grow in the future. The strategy has been research-based, and we have carried out research both with internal and external focus groups. The research, which you can read about in the document, had 3 main conclusions. One is that people above all look for safety and security. The second is that if they have to move out of what would have been their family home into a new environment, they only want to make the move once. They don't want to have to keep moving from one place to another. And the third is that they absolutely want to have continued involvement within their community, which is partly where our large number of volunteers come in, because one of the things our volunteers do is to create that link with the community. The essence of Abbeyfield is absolutely not about building, although we will be building these projects to deliver our services, but it's much more about the whole person, about providing for both essentially the body and the soul, the bedrock of which is the community living, the companionship, and the interaction with the wider community, and the heavy involvement of volunteers, which takes us exactly back to where we started with Richard Cargon.
I would like to thank you for inviting us to come here, for offering us hospitality and offering us a rather inspiring story. I suspect Richard Cargon wouldn't have recognised the phrase, the third sector, and wouldn't have understood exactly what the third sector was, but the fact that we have a new phrase to describe an old idea shouldn't detract from the value that we attach to it. That is to say, that the proper provision of service for elderly people and more generally in the health and social care system should see a major place for the non-statutory services, for people who bring new ideas and in particular bring opportunities for volunteers to support the delivery of that service in the way that Abbeyfield does. I see Nicky Morgan in the room this evening, the newly elected MP for Loughborough. I was first introduced by Abbeyfield, by your home in Loughborough, that no doubt is the reason why Nicky is here too, reflecting the fact that you have homes in different parts of the country that are the focus for voluntary activity, for a different way of delivering service in a way that brings new ideas into the delivery of care. And that's something that I would certainly want to warmly endorse. And what I think as we look for the development of these services, we need to find ways, new ways, of allowing organisations such as yours who have the ambition to grow and to expand the scope of the service you deliver, ways in which that ambition should be welcomed and enabled, partly because it's rewarding for the people who work in it, but most important of all because it provides high quality service for the people who benefit from it. The only thing I would say from a policy point of view is to stress the importance which I, from a select committee standpoint, attach, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of all the members of the select committee, the importance which we attach to seeing the kind of care you deliver, which the bureaucrats call social care, and seen alongside healthcare, but to see it from the perspective of the residents, of the people who use those services, as a single system. The headline number is that healthcare spends just over £100 billion a year of taxpayers' money, and in social care we spend about £15 billion of taxpayers' money. The intelligent way and the right way, in my mind, to look at that health and social care system is as a single system that is responsible for £120 billion of public expenditure. And the question for policymakers is how to ensure that ambition for a single service is experienced as a single service by the people who use it. And that's one of the objectives I have as chair of the Select Committee, is to ensure that that ambition, which is much easier to articulate than it is to deliver, that ambition is more effectively delivered as the years go by.
Been an admirer of Abbeyfield for a very, very long time, and I think the wonderful thing about Abbeyfield is that instead of thinking that things stay the same, Abbeyfield have kept the same reason for existing, but understood that older people, like everybody else of all ages, change with the times, and people's standards, aspirations, wishes for the sort of life that they want to live, these have changed. And Abbeyfield is running faster even than people's attitudes and aspirations are changing. And that's really marvellous, because the many years I've spent working in and with charitable organisations, it's very rare for a body to be able to transform itself while keeping its values, and to transform itself because it understands so well the people who it's designed to serve and who it wants to serve. And we know that people's aspirations now are to be in a place which they call home, which has the services that many of us are going to need as we get older, which has privacy when you want it, but has people around you when you want some company, which has activities you can take part in when you want to, which has the sort of comfort that people want, but isn't a huge, enormous body of people that's like living in a big institution. And that's the best of Abbeyfield, but to be able to change, have a completely new strategy which meets what people now really want, is something that is so admirable, and I do congratulate everyone very much indeed on doing that. And I must say that lots of people I know, and possibly me, think everybody who gets into an Abbeyfield is very lucky. So good luck for the next stage of Abbeyfield's life with a new strategy.
Well, Sally, thank you. And I thought we should just drink a toast to Abbeyfield and the new strategy. So if everybody's got a glass, with whatever you've got in it, and there's lots more glasses and stuff available, just hold up your glass to Abbeyfield.
Abbeyfield.